Hello and welcome. It's Yvonne here, back for another Monday Night Live. So welcome. It's been a while. I've been away in that Queensland Outback for the past week, enjoying some of the most glorious sunsets, experiencing the chill of a Queensland winter, a cold blast actually, not a normal standard winter, and just immersing myself in the wonderful experience that is Outback Queensland on our Outback Queensland fitness adventure. So welcome. If you are watching live, please go ahead and say hello. If you are watching for the first time, please say hello. And if you're a regular watcher and have never identified yourself, then I challenge you on this day in winter in July in Australia to go ahead and say hello. And hello, Susan, lovely, first off the block. So today I'm going to talk about a couple of things, but I really encourage you, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer or that you would like to pose, please go ahead and pop them into the chat there. They can be about anything. I'm going to talk a little bit about our showcase event. I'm going to talk about a first timer, as in the general view of a first timer for a multi-day adventure, the importance of not knowing anyone on an adventure as well, which really makes a difference, and just share some general things. But if you do have a question, I am open to questions this afternoon. So please go ahead and ask away with any questions. If I can't answer it, I'll make it up. And if I can answer it, I'll tell you what it is. And if that's going to happen at Showcase, then I can share some of a little bit of information about that as well. So hello, Susan. Hello, Sandra. Hello, Patricia, Leanne, and Carolyn from all over the country, but it looks like New South Wales has it at the moment. So welcome back to me. For those of you who have, and I think there's a bit of a delay on this, but I was on our Outback Queensland fitness adventure last week. That is the 5th time that we have done that. And one of the great things to come out of the pandemic was finding our adventure partners out there in Western Queensland. So we had a most fabulous time, and there were 12 of us on the adventure, plus our guide, Craig, and our support person, Pan. And one of the really great things about our multi-days, and I get into lots of great discussions, and our members get to have full access to our leaders on all of our multi-day adventures. So, they ask me lots and lots of things, and I'm happy to share all of that. But one of the things that we had on our adventure is only 2 women came on the adventure who knew each other. They were 2 new ladies who hadn't been on a multi-day adventure with us before, and we didn't know them. It was the first time we had met them, and what we found is that with the 12 of us, only 2 knowing each other quite well really makes for a fabulous adventure. And we often think that when we go on a multi-day adventure, one of our most frequently asked questions is, I don't know anyone. Will I fit in? And let me assure you that those adventures where we have less people who are coming together as friends, so singles coming together, you know what I mean, really makes for a fabulous adventure, because 2 people aren't kind of staying together the whole time. Everyone's mingling and really having great conversation. So there were 12 of us, and each and every person brought something amazing to the adventure in terms of whether it was their humor, whether it was their skill set, whether it was their knowledge, whether it was where they spent their childhood growing up, whether it was their curious nature, or one of our ladies on the team was such a beautiful, supportive person. She could find the goodness in absolutely everything. Or whether it was just that quiet, take it all in, don't need to be out in the limelight at all. Whether it was that, hopefully this is working. I don't know if I turned it on. Hopefully you can hear me. All of that made for such a wonderful, rich experience. And it's interesting because for many of our adventurers, it was their very first multi-day adventure. And what that meant was that they didn't really know what to expect. And this is one of the questions. Thanks, Sandra. I'm not sure if I've turned my mic on or not. I've been on and off the phone all day. A lot of the questions we get around what to expect on a multi-day adventure with us are no dissimilar to what you would hopefully ask if you were going on a multi-day adventure with someone else. And we often get asked, will I know anyone? You don't have to know anyone. Hopefully, in our lead up, we have encouraged you to participate as comfortably and as frequently in our private Facebook group and also in our online Ready, Set, Go meeting. So that kind of covers that. And hello, Karen and Leonie and Kerry, because all of our adventurers, every single one of you, and there are many of you watching, come from whatever your profession, it is a very caring profession. And, we've spent a lot of time analysing that, and it doesn't matter what field that you're in or have been in your profession, it comes from a space of caring and supporting others, and particularly other women. And when you get that in a group of women who come together, it really shines through. And I was just chatting with a partner in another country. I can't tell you where it is because that's for a 2026 adventure. And she was quite amazed when I said that all of our women are really caring and supportive and encouraging. And I think, that non-competitive spirit really makes for such an enriching adventure. The other question that we get asked about multi-day, and I'll say this in light of Showcase coming up, and I'm just going to pop a link here for Showcase. If you haven't registered, Showcase is our event on Wednesday week where we open up all of our adventures for 2025 for booking. So if you're thinking of a multi-day adventure and haven't registered, then please book into that. And I am open to questions about Showcase if you have them right now. So where was I going with this? So the other questions we get asked about multi-day adventures is, am I fit enough? And I know that many of you on here have done lots of adventures, and I have seen and heard most of you, and it is following the training plan. And I say this every week, we can come up with our 101 reasons why we can, or 102 reasons why we can't. And we tend to get stuck on the can't version. And when we ask for feedback, we get, really fabulous feedback on all of our adventures. But the most common thing is, I should have followed the training plan. And we put a lot of time and effort into those training plans for you because we want you to be successful. And we want you to become a lifelong hiker as well. And whether that's on the trails with us or whether that's, doing your own thing, if you can follow our training plan for our multi-day adventure and you can be successful on that adventure, then we have skilled you and you're capable to go out hiking into the world. So that's one of the other questions we get asked. Another question we get asked is what's included. And one of the things we know is that most people don't read. They don't read itineraries. They don't read detail. And it's really great when we get many of our adventurers coming back again and again. All they read is showing up at the first location and then letting the adventure flow. And they are actually some of the best adventures of all. But pretty much everything on our adventures is included. And, you can read all those inclusions on an itinerary, but what you can't read is, the trust factor, the fact that even today at hiking, a lady who was reasonably new said, "Thank you for looking after me." That is what we do. We make sure that everyone is safe on our hikes. Everyone is successful. Everyone has the opportunity to learn new skills. That's something that you can't put a price on. The other thing that's included in our adventures is we are a private group. So we have, with our guides, when we go on that adventure, the ability to adapt and change as needed, which if you are with, just a random group of people, you don't have that option. You need to stick to that itinerary. So that is also quite priceless. We also have, a local guide and one of us at Women's Fitness Adventures. So that is priceless as well. We have our private transfers where appropriate, sometimes when they're ferries, or public things, public buses, such in Iceland, we don't have that choice. But when we are in a group and we need to transfer from location to location. So, for example, in Germany, when we're over there next year, or, for example, in France for our Pyrenees adventure, it is all private transfers. It is, or our Tarkine, or our India that we're going to, or our Vietnam, or Morocco, wherever we're going, it is all private transfers. So that is really important as well, because it means that we can make those adaptations as needed. And you can sit there and think, well, I could do this by myself for less. And perhaps you could do that by yourself for less. But that trust factor, and Jen has just said there, trust element is so true. That trust and that group and that ability for us to make the decision on the behalf of the group, so that the group is always safe. The group is, if the weather's sour, you're not asking 12 different opinions of what to do when the weather turns sour, because we've already thought of a plan for that. And that's some of the stuff that you can't buy. And you don't know, or you can't put a price on. You don't know what you don't know until you go on an adventure and see just what is included. Of course, one of the other things in that trust factor, and hello, Margaret from Queensland, is that the insurances are there as well. So, as a tour operator, we have those public liability insurances that you need to operate in national parks, that you need to have to work with certain adventure partners around the world. So that peace of mind that the organisation is reputable and playing within its boundaries as well, because it's not always a level playing field. And some of those things, again, you don't know what you don't know until you need to know it. And so that peace of mind is really, really important. And certainly from our point of view, that safety factor is the absolute number one priority when we're taking women just like me, to different places and spaces all over the world, and stepping out into environments that we aren't familiar with and aren't comfortable with, and having that peace of mind that, we are there to make sure that every step is, challenging in terms of out of your comfort zone, but also challenging because it's a new experience, not challenging because it is unsafe. The other thing that happens on multi-days is, we get lots of questions around food. Will you meet my food requirements? I have lots of food issues. I have this, I have that. And having come through, and I want to share this because it comes up every single time on a multi-day adventure, and I'm loving having some of these comments come through. So if you have comments or questions, please send them through. But each time, we get asked, I have some dietaries, will that be accommodated? So someone, personally me, who has come through 3 years of trying to navigate some food intolerance and allergy spaces to now not have to, I know how difficult and challenging that can be. But I also know how important it is to be on the flip side of that, and how the luxury of saying that you have nil food intolerances or allergies. And the most important things that we look for, and most times we can accommodate, but the most important things we look for are first and foremost allergies. And if you have an allergy and you're thinking I could never go on that, then please reconsider, because we take allergies seriously and we'll work with you to do that. If it's an intolerance, we will work with you as well. We know that intolerances are generally not life-threatening. They are quite uncomfortable, but we can find workarounds. But if it's food preferences, then I really challenge you, and I know this happens because as we get more set in our ways, we tend to, and we've always done this as a society, I think, stick within our own food repertoires of, maybe it's 10 meals across the course of a week, and we eat the same thing for breakfast, for lunch, and maybe dinner, and just swap that around a couple of days a week. We might stick with the same type of milk or non-dairy milk, or, we might avoid this or that. And then when we go to, and only have filtered water, and then when we go to an environment where we have to drink water from a tap that's perfectly safe drinking water, our gut can't handle it. So these little dietary preferences that we have, or choices that we make, I really encourage everyone as we head towards a multi-day adventure, particularly, well, it doesn't matter where, inside of Australia or outside of Australia. For some, drinking rainwater, can do a little bit of an upset tummy as well, is to, as part of your training for a multi-day adventure, is to start to train yourself to have different food. It's not only great for your gut bacteria, but it's also good for, the taste sensation when you go to certainly other countries or other cultures. But it's also good as part of the enjoyment for the adventure as well. So, there are ways around the food issues, but I really challenge you as part of the training to expand your repertoire of food as well. Sandra says here, trust in the Women's Fitness Adventures organisation, the leaders, concern for each participant, make the world of difference. Thank you, Sandra. It means we can let go of the worry around details, etc., so we can just be in the present and embrace the experience, which is priceless. Absolutely, Sandra, and thank you for that, because it is. When we were on our Outback adventure last week, it was all about one of our new ladies said, "Oh, this is great. I don't have to worry about anything. It's a holiday. Even though it's a walking holiday, someone's cooking me dinner. Someone's put lunch out for me to assemble. Breakfast is all there. All I have to do is eat it." And the only other thing she had to do was literally put one foot in front of the other. So, that ability for you to forget about everything else and just focus on that rhythm of one foot in front of the other really makes such a difference. And as you said, Sandra, thank you very much for that. And Susan says, yeah, we never go starving, do we, Susan? As someone who has dietary requirements, I've always had plenty of food on offer during my 5 multi-day hikes. Yep, our multi-day hikes are not the time to go on a diet. They're not the time to watch calories. The food and the fuel that we have are all part of the experience on the adventure as well. And depending who you go with, some of you know one of our adventure partners is a big foodie. And wherever you go with that leader, you know that you're going to certainly be in for a little bit of a food extravaganza. And Kerry says, I've done a few multi-days, but only one with Women's Fitness Adventures. I did not know anyone before the walk, but I can honestly say it was the most supportive, wonderful environment with everyone looking out for each other in every way. And it is, and there's some kind of magic in that. But as I said earlier, and thank you for that, Kerry, as I said earlier, I think it is because I know there's people watching who aren't members, and a lot of you who are watching are members. If you have ever spoken to, most of you have, got to know other members, you will know that we all come from this really caring and supportive environment for human beings. And the collective of that is really like, what was my son calling something the other day? When you go to a concert and you're in the mosh pit and they lift everyone up, we kind of virtually do that in terms of our support and encouragement for each and every woman on the adventure. And, one of the other questions we get asked about multi-day hiking is, I'm slow. What if I can't keep up? I don't want to hold people back. And even today, just in our general hiking, that question comes always. And, there was a lady on our adventure and most of them on my recent adventure last week were new. It was, I would say, maybe 8 of our 12 were first timers for multi-day adventures. And it's really hard to know when you do your training where you fit in terms of the fitness. Have I done enough? Where am I in the field? I don't really know, which is why the first day is generally a gentle introductory day where we can suss everyone out and figure out the strengths and weaknesses and make behind the scenes some adjustments as needed as well, or think, okay, if someone isn't able to go as far today, what are our options for opt-out, or do we go here or there? But everyone on the adventure that I was just on really played together as a wonderful team. And our theme became, which is often on my adventures, teamwork makes the dream work. And for one of our ladies in particular, it was her first adventure, and she has some very lofty goals, which I admire her for, and she will get to all of those, was she just kept at her own pace. And so when everyone else powered up the hill and stopped at the top of the hill and caught their breath, and she was a bit like the tortoise and the hare. She just kept her rhythm, she kept her pace, and she didn't need to stop. She just powered on through in her own rhythm and pace. And everybody got to the top of this big hill at the same time. And, that tenacity, that focus, that drive to just prove to herself that the training that she had been doing and the work that she had put in had really come to the fore. She also said, or someone also said today, who's heading off on her own adventure for 8 weeks in various parts of Europe, thanked me this afternoon and said she had been off sick for quite a while and has been returned for about a year. And she said, thank you. She said, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be going. You've given me the strength and you've given me the confidence, and I have your voice in my head as she heads off to all these fabulous locations. I have your voice in my head that is telling me that I can actually do this. And I think that when someone has, as all our leaders do, that strong belief in you that you can do it, and then the collective of our multi-day adventure group has that belief in you. Imagine being in that environment where every single person wants you to be successful. You're the only one probably putting that down into your head, but everybody else wants you to be successful. That is really, really powerful. It's like being the Olympic athlete, and the whole world is willing you to break that world record. That's what it's like on a multi-day, that the whole team is willing for you to be successful. That is such a powerful thing. So the other question we get is how to train. And, I think I might have said this last week, or the week when it wasn't here last week, 2 weeks ago, that with my running, some of you know I'm doing the run, and I'll share that my number when I get it, so that you can follow me if you want, and the run in a couple of months, is that when I first started running, I used to complain all the time about the training plan. And, I would pay and I would show up and I would still complain. And I know, fancy that, I complain. And then I just got over myself and I thought, I've chosen to do this. I am paying to do this. Why aren't I following the expertise and the skill of the coach and why am I trying to do my own thing? Why am I trying to make it so much harder when I don't know more than he does? And I found that when I flicked that switch, when I tapped into that skill and got over myself, the game changed, and the game changed big time. And that is the same with the hiking and the hike training plans, is that we can come up with all of the excuses about, I don't like training in the heat, and some of you know who you are, or it could have been a bit cooler on that adventure. That's what slowed me down. Or I am not used to hiking in that environment. We can come up with all of these things, but really if we follow the plan, and for those going on our adventures that include environments that we can't train for in Australia, such as really rocky slopes, for example, Corsica and our recent Crete adventure, and then next year with our Germany adventure, which has lots of stairs and really safe ladders in there. The training plan comes with some supplementary training plans as well. Our Crete and our Corsica have another 12-week strength and stability functional training plan to support them as well. So it's when you take on board all of those things, and we can all say with training for anything that we do that we don't have enough time. And you know what? You're right. There is never enough time. There is not enough time in my day to do all the things that I want to do. So I need to make certain things a priority in my day. And for me, the priorities will change depending what I've chosen to do. So if I'm doing a hike, the priority for me is to get strong and strengthen all my muscles to prevent or minimize risk of injury, and know that I'm strong enough and capable enough to do whatever that adventure is. If my priority is the run, then I will still continue with my hiking, but I need to focus on, building more recovery days in there, because I need to not be fatigued, because when I'm fatigued, my ability to lift my feet becomes compromised. So there is never enough time in anyone's day, but we all have the same amount of time. So if we think we don't have time for the training and leave it to that red hot chili pepper, burn your butt off last 2 weeks before I go, then the adventure wasn't really important enough to you. That's what that is. So let me check in here. And if you've got questions, I'm happy to ask. Remember, Showcase is coming up. So I'm happy to answer any questions about Showcase. I have done several multi-day hikes with Women's Fitness Adventures. And though I'm slower than most, I've never been made to feel that I'm holding the team up. Thank you all. Absolutely, Patricia. And the most important thing is that we are having a go. That is the most important thing. And, you know, some adventures, we all can't be the fastest and we all can't go the furthest, but we can all go. And there's options, and choosing the right adventure for where we are in our space is a good thing, and what time availability we have to commit as well. So with our training, whether we are successful on the adventure or not, whether we have put in the effort or not, you can blame it on the sunshine, you can blame it on the good times, and you can blame it on the boogie as well. But ultimately, we are responsible for how we perform on the trail. And you know, one of the things that you do get inside of our adventures is that unwavering support from us to help you with your training plan. And there's many, many ways to do that. And I challenged everyone last time, and I hope that this works again for you. So on Thursdays, and it's back again this week because I'm back, is our online trail fit training. And one of the questions I got asked at our walk and talk yesterday is, why did I change the name from functional fitness to trail fit training? And here's why. Because we have been going for 10 years now, and we have been teaching functional fitness online for about 6 years. We're now in our 6th year. I think we started in 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, 5 years. And for a long time, we are always explaining functional fitness is this, blah, 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 blah. Trail fit training is exactly the same thing as functional fitness, but it is just named more appropriately, because that is what we do. We equip you to be strong through the joints. We equip you to be strong in your body. We equip you to minimize the risk of injury through strength training, and not only in our legs, but in our core, our back, our shoulders. So we are making you trail fit with our online training. And I encourage everyone, if you are not at a gym and not working with a personal trainer and booked on a hiking adventure, then online trail fit training and our cardio boost should be what every single person is booked into, because it is a game changer. And I know Carolyn, who is watching, said it made a huge difference to her when we were recently in Crete. And somebody else who was on the Outback adventure last week said that she would not be as strong, and we hiked up this little mountain and a little rock scrambling, if she had not done the trail fit training. But not only is it great for the trail, it also, which is where the original name came from, makes you functionally fit for life. So that ability to be strong in the legs means that we're always going to be able to squat down and pick up children or grandchildren. That ability to be strong in the legs means that we're always going to be able to bend down or squat down and sit on the toilet. That ability to be able to be strong in our back and strong in our shoulders and mobile in our shoulders means we'll have the ability to bend our arms and lift up above our head, to reach around behind our back, to pull our pack through, to be able to be strong and to be stable when we're out on the trail with our backpack on, to be strong through the hips and the pelvis so that we're not rocking and rolling as we hike down a trail, which causes our more instability as we get tired, and that, you know, increases our risk of slipping. So, you know, all of those things form part of you know, being part of Women's Fitness Adventures, but on our multi-day hike training plans, those things are then baked in as well. So they're the things that you can't see when it comes to, you can read it, but it doesn't mean anything. It only means something when you get on the trail, and it only becomes valuable when you get on the trail and realize that all of that effort and all of that time that you have put in has actually made you a stronger hiker, which gives you more opportunity to actually enjoy the hike, which is such a wonderful thing. So in light of that, Showcase is coming up, not this Wednesday, but the one after. And Showcase is where we have all of our adventures for 2025 available to book into. So it will be me at Showcase talking about the adventures, going through the adventures, what they mean, who they're for, the highlights of the adventure, and, you know, for you to determine which one is good for you to go into. Some of the itineraries are now available on the website. We've popped a few up. There's still a few more to come. We'll be up there. There'll be a booklet coming out to you later this week that has all the details on it as well, and you can have a look through. But I encourage you, if you have any questions now, or you have any questions before Showcase, to please ask them. If you have a super duper preference and really want to be on one, please email the office if you haven't expressed an interest already, and just have a chat to Trish about that, because I know there's a lot of interest in all of the adventures. Some never come again, so be mindful of that, especially the first ones. We might decide that they are just a once-off, or that the logistics, we can only get in there at that point in time. So have a think about that. And, don't overthink it. Don't think, I need to don't go backwards in time and go, I can't do this because of this and this and this and this. It's, if there's one thing we've all learned, and we spoke about this the other day, and, we were having this really hearty discussion about this on the adventure, because that's what we do, that, life is to be lived and to take advantage of the opportunities. And if we don't make the decisions for ourselves, someone else will make them for us. And I know who I would rather have making the decisions for me, and that's me. So have a think about that. So that's all I wanted to share today. It's nice to be back. Thank you for tuning in. So this week, I look forward to seeing you at Trail Fit Training on Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon. And I think our book club is due to start in a couple of weeks, if you haven't booked into that. And of course, Showcase is the big thing that's about to happen. Just an update on our Couch to Mountain group. They are doing amazing things already, so off to a flying start. Super, super proud of them. And I know many of you here watching is where you started with our Couch to Mountain program. So that is me. If you're watching on replay and have some questions, please pop them in there. If you're watching live and you have some questions after we finish, then just drop them in there as well. Just remember to tag me, Yvonne, and go from there. But I am super excited about Showcase. There's a lot of wonderful things that are going to happen. And when I was chatting to this adventure partner on the other side of the world about 2 hours ago, and, we were talking about women on adventures, and not only and women globally, but somehow being on an adventure together and learning new skills and being outdoors in Mother Nature with another female really is a transformative experience. We grow in ways that we don't really imagine it, and we go about our daily lives when we get back, but somehow we're different, and we draw on those skills that we gained on a hiking adventure. So really encourage you to have a think about it. Go have a look at the website, look at the different things. If you have a question that we can't answer, that isn't answered part of the itinerary, then just tag us and we'll go from there. So that's it from me. Happy Monday, and I will catch you next Monday, same time, same place for me. I'll see you then. Bye.